guys, this is Back Home Prepper, and sorry it's been so long since I posted a video. Been a little sick, but I've been keeping up with what's going on, and I gotta tell you, I'm a little upset. The proposed gun bans, magazine bans, are just ridiculous. They're obvious violation of our Second Amendment rights. I'm asking you guys, if you would, to get on the internet, look up your legislators, if you don't know who they are, your congressional legislators, and call them, email them, write them. I've been active in emailing my legislators continuously since all this started, before they even rolled out some of the gun ban proposals, and while they've been doing it, letting them know exactly where I stand and what I expect of my elected officials. I've called their offices. Every politician will tell you that when someone takes the time to actually call, it kind of speaks louder to them. It doesn't take anything to just throw out an email real quick, but when someone actually takes the time to call their office, that means it's something that's important to them. Another option, there's a website out there called popvox.com, popvox.com, and just by registering, it'll populate your congressional legislators. Now, on there are all the bills that are before the Senate and before the House, if they're joint resolutions or what. And they're listed. You'll see a little tab on there that says bills in Congress. Now, you can find some on education, the budget, healthcare, all kinds of different issues, including the category firearms and explosives. If you go on there, there's about 16 or so, I think, that are on there. Go through them. Now, the one thing I don't like about PopVox, and I sent them a comment, is that they give a very poor synopsis of what each bill actually says. And they'll just give you a brief little, not even a sentence, basically just the title of the bill. And from that, you have to draw your own conclusion as to what it actually says in the bill. So you'll find that a lot of people are opposing things that seem like they make sense, but because you can't see what the actual bill says, they're opposing it. Such things as requiring background checks at gun shows and stuff. A lot of gun owners say they don't have a problem with that. Gun shows are open to the public. Anybody, a felon, somebody with mental deficiencies could get in there easily and purchase a weapon, and no one would know it. Ammunition, high-capacity magazines, handguns, whatever they want, that technically, legally, they're not allowed to have. So by closing that loophole, as it were, we kind of eliminate that. That, to everybody I've talked to, seems like common sense. That's something we should do. I am opposed to requiring a background check for me to pass down my rifle to my nephew, or say a father or a mother to their child, or from a grandparent to their grandchild. I don't think I'm opposed to that. It kind of goes it flies in the face of tradition, families passing down firearms, and I'm opposed to registration of firearms. I cannot think of a single reason why someone would want to know why someone that's legally allowed to own a firearm should be required to register that firearm and tell the government what firearms they own. To me, that's just, a list so that if something were to ever happen, they know what doors to go knock on and say, hey, Joe Snuffy, you have an AR-15, a .22 rifle, a 12-gauge shotgun, a 20-gauge shotgun, 245s, a 9mm, and a 40. And we need you to give those all up. Thank you very much. Thank you for registering. I don't see a real good reason. You can do a background check on me to make sure that I'm not a felon, to make sure that I'm not mentally handicapped or haven't been adjudicated mentally deficient. That's fine, but you have no reason to know why I have a firearm or what type that firearm is. The only thing that the government's entitled to do really is to just make sure that I'm not a felon and I'm not mentally handicapped or mentally deficient. Other than that, what type of firearm I'm buying, what type of firearm it is, make, model, serial number, all that crap, none of it has to do anything with you. I'm opposed to magazine restrictions. We don't see them restricting magazines size for the military or for law enforcement. Matter of fact, New York, they're scrambling right now because they passed that stupid law after like 20 hours. Thank the Lord I live in Indiana, where they restricted magazines to only 10-round magazines, and they're only allowed to have 7 rounds. What they forgot to do was put an exemption in there for law enforcement. So when that law becomes or is enacted, becomes legal in March, if they don't get it fixed, then that means all law enforcement officers have to go around with only 7 rounds in their 15-round handgun. They're only allowed 7 rounds, and they're legally owned assault rifles that they use for SWAT. So they're scrambling to fix it. My problem is that if they're allowed to have it, why aren't I? Second Amendment was there for me, to be able to bear arms against them. That's what it's for. I don't know why so many people are having a problem with the word infringed. Shall not be infringed, shall not be changed, shall not be adulterated, shall not be tread upon, as you want to use the Gadsden word. Don't change it. So people are throwing out there, well, the government has the right to regulate commerce. You know what? They do. They are allowed to regulate commerce between the United States and foreign nations, and they are allowed to regulate commerce between the states. What I own in my own state and what I own in my county and what I own in my city is my business, nobody else's. What I buy in Indiana and what stays in Indiana is no business of theirs. The fact that that gives them that power has nothing to do with the Second Amendment. Second Amendment says it cannot be infringed. That, in my opinion, makes their ability to regulate it null and void, because they would have the ability to regulate commerce in the regard to firearms if the Second Amendment hadn't said you cannot infringe upon it. Now, it doesn't say upon it, but everybody throws it out there. But it shall not be infringed. Okay? That means don't touch it. Leave it alone. Take your mitts off of it. Treat it like it's my 13-year-old daughter. No touchy. Okay? It's just that simple. I hear idiots out there, and I'm saying idiots. Now I'm getting a little frustrated. I hear idiots out there saying, well, the government... the government gave you those rights. They can take them away. You know what? Go back to history class. Matter of fact, go to a history class or go get an attorney and sue your history professor. The Constitution guarantees makes the government responsible for guaranteeing all rights that are given to us by our Creator, by God. That's in the Constitution. All rights are endowed to us by our Creator. The Constitution guarantees that the government will ensure that those rights are not trampled upon. That's what the government's here to do, to protect my rights. Not usurp them, not infringe upon them, not throw them out the door, not giving them to somebody that isn't a U.S. citizen. The other thing that irritates me, is what do you need? What do you need an assault rifle for? Sorry about the little quote hangers there. But what do you need an assault rifle? Because it's a Bill of Rights, not a Bill of Needs. The Bill of Rights was written by our founding fathers at a time when they had just fought a war against King George. They had just gotten through a very rough time. Lots of people died. Rights were trampled upon. The King George and his men, they took the weapons, the firearms, the muskets and such away from the patriots, right? They bent them around trees. They took their powder. They took their musket balls. They made it hard for them to get a hold of lead. They did all of this so that they could not fight the government, okay, to squash the rebellion. All this fresh in the mind of our founding fathers when they were writing the Constitution. You know, the Federalists, the Anti-Federalists, going at it. Should we enumerate? Should we not enumerate? What if we enumerate in the Bill of Rights and they think that that's the only rights? Well, boom, Ninth Amendment. Thank you. But they were thinking about the Second Amendment when they wrote it, and all this was fresh in their mind, and they said, you know what, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed, right? Why? For the purpose of having a well-regulated militia. Well-regulated militia does not mean it's regulated by the government. A well-regulated militia, if you find yourself, go on the internet, there's a copy of the Merriam-Webster, might just be a Webster, but it's Merriam-Webster, it's like the 1789 edition or something like that. So you go back, you find this dictionary, and it has the Old English. It has terms and words that were used back then. What did they mean? So look up well-regulated militia, and you'll find out that a well-regulated militia was something that worked well, that functioned. It was well-oiled. Okay, everything worked together. That's what a well-regulated militia was. Men working together. I mean, it was a captain and a bunch of men, farmers, merchants, pastors of churches, all owning their own weapons, all owning their own bayonets, powder horns and musket balls and stuff, that would go out and practice every so often with target shooting and stuff, and doing a few drills here or there so that they could defend themselves against Indian attacks and against the French and whatever was going on at that time. There were laws enacted that required all men to bring their muskets to church on Sunday so that they could defend against Indian attacks. These were well-regulated militias. These were not government militias. These were not, the National Guard. This was not the Army Reserves. This was not the U.S. Army. Okay? These were common men and boys that had their own firearms and at a moment's notice could be called up. They would respond with their own weapons to repel an enemy. And that's all fresh in their mind. They're writing this. And that was the whole point. Shall not be infringed. Okay, they say someone will say, well, it says you can have your gun, fine, but it doesn't say you can have this ammo. Well, you know what? Ninth Amendment. It doesn't have to be written for it to be true. Okay, the Ninth Amendment says that there's a lot of rights that we have given to us by God that aren't enumerated, okay? They're not listed there. It doesn't mean we don't have them. If the Constitution doesn't give that power to the government, then guess what? It's reserved for the people, okay? So, people saying, well, you don't need this certain ammo. What do you need a 30-round magazine for? You know what? I like to go target shooting. Why do I have a 22 rifle with an 18-round tube on it? Because I like to go plinking. Okay, I used to go out to the river bank and save your little Christmas lights, little miniature ones, put them out there on the bank, and we'd go across the creek and we'd shoot at them for target practice. It was fun. It was something to do, and there wasn't always dragonflies around, so couldn't shoot dragonflies off of branches. But you go through round after round after round. Why do I like to reload hundreds of shotgun shells? Because I like to go skeet shooting. Okay, do I need them? Not right now. May I need them? Sure, I might. But who's to deny me that right? I might need it. Okay, what if there was another Hurricane Katrina? Now, granted, I live in Indiana. Okay, but we've had earthquakes. We've had some major floods. We've had some very bad tornadoes come through. What if something like that to happen? Food becomes scarce. I've got stuff. People around me know it. They want it. I might have to defend myself. The police are busy. They're trying to, hand out food and run the little FEMA camps and doing stuff like that. Meanwhile, I don't have a phone. I don't have any way of communicating with them. I don't have my own little bat signal. So, what am I supposed to do? How do I call 911 when a bunch of thugs come beating on my door, wanting my water, wanting my food? I have to defend myself. And will it take more than 7 rounds? Hello, New York? It might. Okay. Will it take more than 10? It could. Will it take 30? I hope not. But, I have the right to defend myself. I have the right to defend my family. I've got the right to defend my dog. My property is my property. My family is my family. Nobody out there should have the right to tell me I can't do it. I applaud the sheriffs out there. I applaud the city governments, and I applaud the governors that have stood up and said, we're not going to do it. I don't care what you say. It's unconstitutional, and if you try to enact it, we're not going to follow it. And if you try to come here and enforce it, we're going to kick you out. I applaud you. I hope more and more people stand up and say we're not going to do it. We're not going to we're not going to take it. We're not going to have you shove it down our throat. So that's my rant, and I want to thank you for listening. Again, call, email, write, popvox.com, the Ruger.com. They've got a little thing where they'll send stuff off for you. You just register on that. In Indiana, for those of you that see this, if you're in Indiana, if you go on district.iga.in.gov, there is a little thing where you can put in your address and it'll tell you who your legislators are if you don't know. You can go on GovTrack, right? GovTrack.com, and they have a thing on there where it'll tell you who your representatives are, who's your district representative. And like with me, I'm in the 8th district. It's Larry Bouchon. Of course, the state of Indiana has Coates and Donnelly. So those are my 3 legislators. Depending on your district, you'll have your district representative for districts 1 through 9. But call them. It takes a couple of minutes. Get off of Facebook, hit pause on YouTube, pick up your cell phone. Most cell phones, free loan distance. Call the numbers. It's not that hard. You'll get a hold of like a secretary or somebody, and they'll ask you your name, your address. They'll take your comment and they'll forward it on to your representative. Another thing I've done is I've looked up my reps, found them on Facebook. Guess what? Senator so-and-so, Senator so-and-so, U.S. Representative so-and-so. I found them on Facebook. I liked their page, and then I commented on their page. Hey, I'm opposed to this. Already people have liked my comment where they agree that they oppose it also. I constantly post on Facebook encouraging people to get out there and do something. I was working on the Second Amendment March at the state capitol, so I couldn't go to that. I'm hoping to be able to go to the one in February. my truck's oil pump just went out, so I got to get that fixed. So cross your fingers, pray if you do, that we get that fixed. And like I said, I'm just encouraging people to get out. The worst thing that I could think of is that people in the United States tend to have a very short attention span. And I'm afraid that they're going to forget about this or think, hey, we've got it in a bag, because they're looking at all these poll results and they're listening to their the gun rights people, and everybody's saying, hey, we've got this. The Republicans have got it, and the Democrats won't be able to push it through, or knock it out or whatever. So we're good to go. We're good to go. We're good to go. Meanwhile, backdoor handshakes and kissing of other people's babies and stuff going on, and next thing you know, we're sitting there thinking, we got this beat, and it goes through, and we're like, what happened? Yeah, it's because we sat on our butts and we let it happen. We started talking about fixing soup and hot dogs and how to can beans, and we forgot about protecting our Second Amendment right. So don't stop, preppers. Don't stop. Don't stop fixing the beans. I'm just saying, we need to every so often give everybody a kick in the pants and remind them to get out there and do this stuff. The more we keep it in the media, the more we keep voicing our opinion on it, the harder it's going to be for our representatives to vote against us. And I made it very clear to my representatives, and I hope you do, that I elected them to represent the majority of the people, not themselves, and not their party. Okay? I voted them in, I elected them to represent the people. We are a republic, we are a representative government, and I made it very clear that if they vote contrary to popular vote, that I will do everything I can to get them elected or get them voted out the next time. I cannot stand it when I hear a politician stand and say, I couldn't in good conscience vote for this bill or this amendment because blah, blah, blah. I could care less how you feel. I really could. I don't care about your conscience. I don't care about whether you like poodles. I don't care how you feel about anything. What I do care about is that I elected you into office to represent the people. And if the people say they want something and you don't, guess what? The people's what matter. You don't. It drives me off the wall. Voting party lines. Please. If there's any politicians listening to this, I really doubt there is, but if there are any politicians that get this far into the video, I hate it when you vote party lines. I didn't elect you to vote party lines either. Your party isn't in my district. The entire Republican Party doesn't live in my hometown or in my district or in my state. So you listen to the people that you're elected to represent. Okay? Get in your little party to get elected, fine. But once you're in, you're no longer Republican or Democrat. You're now a representative of the people who happen to be Republicans, Democrats, Unitarians, Libertarians, Tea Party, Green Party, whatever, Rooster Lover Party, the Squirrel Worshipper Party. I don't care who they are. But anyway, they're there, all in your district. You have to represent them as a whole. Listen to what they have to say and do what they say. I didn't elect the entire Republican Party to represent me. Matter of fact, I voted for a few Democrats. I always vote a split ticket. So, anyway, now I'm done with my rant. God bless. Take care of yourselves and get out there, rattle your chains, fly your flags, make some noise in a respectful manner. We have these rights for a reason, and a few idiots out there, Alex Jones, that make us look really bad in the media. They just need to calm down and stop acting like we're going to go to war. We have legal recourse for things. We have the ability to protest. We have the ability to redress our government for grievances. We have legal recourses. The only time we should ever consider taking up arms against our elected officials is when we've tried everything and they still don't listen. Okay, we've attempted to get them to change, and they refuse to listen. That's the only time. Take a lesson from our founding fathers, right? They tried. They went overseas. They spoke to Parliament. They did everything that they could within a legal means, sending correspondence, speaking to the governors there in the colonies to get it changed, right? To get it to stop, until they couldn't take it any longer. So keep that in mind. Keep calm. Keep prepping. Keep storing stuff, and take care of yourselves.